Well, okay, everyone. I want to thank you once again for joining us for another Takeaway Tuesdays. I'm your host, Carlita Cole, real estate concierge with Keller Williams Capital Properties. We're Takeaway Tuesday, where we're discussing all things real estate globally. So one of the things is that I decided to do this is because I wanted to build a referral of agents and industry experts. Why? Because I'm building intergenerational wealth, one home and one family at a time. It is time for all of us to level up and to teach the next generation about wealth building. In order to do that, we need a community of like-minded individuals to change the narrative to help families have their dreams of home ownership and real estate investment realized. And as realtors, our wealth starts with mental clarity, which is essential when trying to achieve lofty goals. And so I really believe that you have to have a vision. You have to nurture the vision and affirm the vision. And that's why I'm on a 45-day affirmation challenge to really challenge myself to go to the next level of success. And so if you want to join me, please join me and during your affirmations every single day. In order to achieve your dreams and your goals, you first have to conceive them. And that really starts with positive affirmations. You have to tell yourself what you believe and what you're going to do, or not what you're going to do, what you are doing. So it comes with strategy, and strategy is no strategy without implementation of that strategy. Okay. So that's where we're going with Takeaway Tuesdays and our 45-day challenge for affirmations. And so one of the things I want to do right now is ask you to really hold on to your seats. We have a really great guest with us today. That is the one and only Steve Twyman. Steve is a very compassionate person, and he serves with passion when it comes down to customer service. Steve Twyman is committed to serving the community at large. He has over 14 years of mortgage banking experience. His approach to real estate finance is starting with pure fundamentals. The originating of mortgage loans can have a share of difficulty, but this is where Steve Twyman is at his absolute best. As the co-founder, owner, branch manager of Mortgage Experts, he has one goal, and that goal is to build communities, one neighborhood, one house, and one family at a time. Equipped with the wealth of experience in FHA, conventional, veteran, reverse, investor, and USDA mortgages, Steve Twyman from Mortgage Experts is quickly becoming the voice of the mortgage industry. Steve and his team thrive at exceeding customers' expectations. They take pride at serving their real estate community. They propel at being a preferred choice for residential financing needs. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Steve. Steve, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having us and inviting us. We truly appreciate any opportunity that we can share this knowledge and wisdom. And we are in full support of your movement.
Great. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Let me just mute someone here. Okay, great. Thank you. And so, like I said, Steve is just a well-rounded person. He's here. Realtors love him. The real estate industry love him. Work hand in hand. I am going to ask the person to keep themselves muted. I muted you. Please do not unmute yourself. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. And so we really do work hand in hand as realtors and mortgages because they go hand in hand. We can't have one without having the other. And so, Steve, I just want to ask you a few questions on, the whole mortgage process, right? And so we have various different people that are looking to, to buy, sell homes, to look for various different opportunities to get into the game. And so let's talk about the various different options we have as realtors and people that are in the industry or people in general that's trying to buy in terms of their real estate investments.
All right, so there are a ton of options that exist today, and we are excited about a lot of the new mortgage programs that come in, the problem that we have in the industry is that, and one of the reasons why at least mortgage experts try to be a voice for the community is because there are a lot of banks that clients and individuals bank with that won't even give them a home loan or have any options that would be relevant for their situation or circumstance at hand. So we pride ourselves at not only just doing the traditional loans, but also having alternative options, especially for like our self-employed borrowers. Oftentimes they may not have filed taxes. A lot of their business revenue is strictly cash or something along those lines. So we have great programs, bank statement loans, asset depletion loans, 1099 loans that give them a opportunity now to be able to purchase a home in this current mortgage climate. And there's not a lot of individuals that offer those type of options.
That is correct. So let's talk to that buyer. So we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to work ourselves up. Okay. So let's talk about that buyer who's already paying like $1,800 to $2,400 a month in rent, right? And so it's not that they can't afford a mortgage, because obviously they're paying a mortgage already, just paying someone else's mortgage. However, they don't have the funds to save because all of their savings are going into their, paying the rent on a monthly basis. What options and what strategies can you actually, can they use to actually take them to the next step? What are the options for that?
A great question. With COVID still being in the mix, banks have been somewhat reluctant in regards to releasing these assets, if you will. They've tightened up the guidelines a tad bit because we're still in a world of uncertainty. However, with that being said, what I advise clients to do is just be prepared to have some skin in the game. It's a seller's market, at least right now. For this particular video, it's still a seller's market. And sellers, they're not really giving up a lot in closing costs like they used to when it's a buyer's market or some form of a balanced market. So be prepared to have some skin in the game. $5,000, $10,000 saved can go a long way when it comes to negotiating your transaction. Now, with all of that being put on the table, we offer some great programs, right? We have grant programs that will cover, if you're doing an FHA loan, your 3.5% down payment. If you're doing a conventional loan, first time home buyer, your 3% down payment. And our grant programs can get you anywhere from 3 to 6% if you're credit worthy. So the better the credit, the more access to this capital that you will be able to receive when it applies to down payment and also maybe a portion or a fraction of your closing costs. Now, there's other caveats that come into that equation, but these are the factors that work to your advantage or that you can take advantage of.
So now that is really great information. And so now let's talk about, we talked about how the banks are being a little bit tough holding on to the purse strings. And, because of the climate that we're in, and we all have to understand it's a very iffy climate, right? So we don't know what's happening from one day to the next. It's a very tough market for everyone. And so let's talk about let's say FHA 203K loans. So you have this buyer, they're willing to find a property that they can invest in, and they, you know what, I'm pretty handy. I think I can handle it. I have a few options available. How can you help me buy a property where I have to go in and build the walls up if I have to? I just want to buy a home.
All right, so that's an amazing question. And the reason why is because a lot of people don't know how to leverage when it comes to buying real estate. So usually what I look for in this particular situation, let's just say I approve a client for $300,000. And they can't really find what they want. Normally I'll tell them, look, why don't you go find this property for $250 that is in the community that you want, that just needs some TLC. And then we go do a 203K renovation loan where we finance, if you will, the renovation on the home. And now you're pretty much walking into a brand new house, at least, aesthetically. And that equation often works. So you can buy the house for lower, you can put the money into the house, get new carpet, paint, update the kitchen, the bath, renovate the basement, if you like. And now you're walking into a house in the neighborhood that that you desire, and you got it the way that you want. Where it's maybe not moving ready until you renovate it, but that's a great option for you. And with the 203K, there are two options. You have a limited and you have a full. The limited version of the 203K is where you can finance up to 35,000 in repairs, mostly cosmetic repairs under that program. However, with the full, you can buy a shell, an existing brick building that's totally gutted, and fully renovate that property and make it your dream home. And there's no limit as long as you're inside what we call the FHA limits per whatever county that you're buying in. So those are two great options. The interest rates on those are still close to market rates, but where else can you go where you go and you're financing this rehab job? You don't have to pay 28% to a credit card or to some form of a financing or funding source, where you can now get your house fully renovated and everything is deductible at the end of the year when you're writing off your taxes for that home.
That's the sweetest part of it all, right? That's the sweet part. That is all deductible at the end of the year. That's the choice of homeownership and making improvements to your home. So let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. So we have individuals that want a whole lot of land now. Everybody's trying to move further out as they possibly can, and they're trying to find out the areas that are designated for rural living. What kinds of finances are available for those individuals that want to live in the rural areas and they have all this land and they just want to have a peaceful lifestyle? Is there an opportunity for them as well?
Yes, there is. The most popular one is USDA. And the great thing about USDA, it definitely serves any rural territories, but also USDA is 100% financed. And they have their interest rates, because it's a government loan, are amazing. And a lot of people don't even know that we even can do USDA under certain circumstances in the commercial world. Which, I had a client that was looking at buying a horse farm and was having a hard time getting funding for that particular project. And we were able to explore options, USDA in the commercial world. So USDA is 100% financing. And so, we kind of treat that as a program, but I love it because the rates are low. Now, the only unique thing about USDA that I do have to expose is it requires a second underwrite. So whenever you're negotiating a USDA transaction, that has to be on the table because that underwrite might add an additional 30 days to your initial underwrite. And outside of that, when those deals come together, they're masterful. And they also have a low mortgage insurance premium, even lower than that of FHA. And so it's a very favorable transaction, if you will.
Oh, that's some good stuff. I didn't know that. I knew a little bit about the USDA loan. I had the concept of it, but that's really good. Thank you for going into great details about it. And so let's talk about, right now we understand that the moratorium has been lifted and we have a lot of people that are in very sticky situations right now to no fault of their own, right? And then sometimes maybe it is their fault. And then, there are some people I try to encourage them or try to inform them that if you don't pay, you can't stay, and that you have to do something. You just can't sit there, try to work out some type of forbearance or modification or something. Let's talk about that for a moment. So what are the options are available for those individuals who's in this really tough spot right now? They want to pay, they can't stay because they can't pay either job or because they choose not to. What options do they have to try to hold on to their home? And if they can't, what's the best option for them to release the property?
This will be a tough few minutes of a conversation. Um, in the lending side, the banks frown upon any type of a forbearance, any type of a loan modification right now. I get a lot of clients that want to refinance, and I'm like, wait a minute, you haven't made your mortgage payment because of the forbearance? That's unacceptable. So they got rules and guidelines in place right now where you have to be out of that forbearance and have established anywhere from 3 to 6 months of payments, depending on the type of loan that we're doing, before we can even touch you on a refi. So you have that. I just tell individuals that you really have to do some soul searching. It's not going to always be a comfortable perspective or conversation that you have to have, but it becomes a thing of is a reality. And if that reality is that you can't afford that house, I'm going to make a recommendation that you take advantage of this seller's market and maybe try to get the max for it, where you have a nice cushion and just start over and reinvent yourself, right? I mean, at some point you'll be able to get back in the game, but it might be just better that you get out of that particular situation and do a reset and put yourself back in a much better situation, because there's nothing, and it's very uncomfortable when you're house poor, when everything is just going to the house. You don't have no other social lifestyle or anything like that, and we don't want that, right? So, and then the other option is if you've already absorbed good equity in your home, the equity in your property, then a short sale is definitely an option. It's a drawn out process. Sometimes it could take up to a year. So you got a year of planning, if you will. And that's something that you consult with Ms. Cole, Mrs. Cole here, and she can help guide you with that process.
I sure will. Now, let me ask you a question. For those that you talked about the equity in a property, can they sell the property, take the equity? So if they sell the property, they have equity. Obviously, they can just go ahead and pay the balance of the loan. Mm-hmm. And so what do you think are the number one reasons why sellers choose not to do that? Because I've had a seller that I've been, talking to since 2019. And, I went there, constantly giving them the opportunities to sell the property that had great equity in it. Sell the property, you can pay off the loan, and then you can take your money and do something else. This lady had $120,000 worth of equity in the property and refused to play ball. And then she called me when she lost the property, asked me what she can do now. So I was heartbroken. I was really upset. So talk to those owners that have equity in a property, that have an opportunity to do something, because they can take the power away from the auctioneer or the bank, whoever is trying to foreclose on a property, and do something really productive.
So I've witnessed this firsthand myself, and I believe that a lot of it is pride. And in the most humble way that I could put this, if you're in a bind, don't let the bank take your equity, because they're going to write off whatever they can. So it's going to be an ultimate win for them. If you're in a bind, why not? And I had a situation or a circumstance with a client where they had $500,000 in equity and lost the house. And the whole time I was saying, look, let's sell the house, take the 500, and you can go pay cash for a house and live a great life. You can go take 200. At that time, properties were still really nice. Properties were still available at 250,000. You would have took your 500. Paid 250,000, you got 200,000 to live off of while you getting your life together. So to see that was traumatizing even for me, to watch that whole situation get dissolved and did not manifest the way that I would have liked to have seen it. So I would just say, that's something that you pray over and hopefully make the right decision. If you will, because they will take that house and they will take it quickly. And next thing you know, everything that you had in equity will be gone.
I just got a little bit emotional just thinking about it, because you're right. And I think it does come down to a lot of pride. But sometimes you have to get to the intersection of reality, and realize that it's less about your pride and more about the reality of the situation that you're facing. And so, later on today, I'm going to visit this person for the 8th time. He laughed at me. He's like, boy, you're really persistent. You really want my house. I'm like, don't think that I want your house, because actually it's not me that wants your house. It's actually the bank, that wants your house. But I'm trying to give you the upper hand to make a decision. And don't look at me as the bad guy, right? Because I don't live here. I didn't write, I didn't sign a promissory note, but I don't say it in those terminologies, but I do want to let them know is that I'm only here to help you. I'm your partner. Let me help you with the situation. So Steve, you've given me a lot of information, stuff I knew that just I needed to get brushed up on, a lot of things that I didn't know. And I know that those who have come and, listen to this Takeaway Tuesday later on is going to learn so much. But what do you want everyone that's going to listen to this later on? What do you want them to take away from this conversation in terms of where we are today in the market industry, real estate, and all of it combined?
All right. So the number one takeaway that I would like, I guess, to receive is real estate is one of the number one ways of creating wealth. So I offer you wealth building strategies. We offer you wealth building strategies or solutions when it comes to buying real estate. I mean, you're looking at, let me tell you something, like I just was listening to the radio the other day, and there was one property in DC that sold for $1 million over the asking price. Another one sold for $500,000 of the asking price. That person who sold that house started from day one, just like what you and Alita and I are telling you, right? So put yourself in a position to maybe be that person, because now they're getting asking price, so we don't even know what the equity was in there, plus $500,000 or $1 million to walk away with when they sell that property. Now, if that's not wealth building at its finest, and you're getting this for free, you don't have to pay for a seminar, you don't have to go to a hotel room. I'm giving you some nuggets for free. Come on, take that with you. Take that to the bank. So wealth building. Also, I shared with a group yesterday. I had a real estate investor that approached me at a cigar lounge, and that real estate investor said, "Hey, I got 3 contracts. Each one of these properties are under contract for $300,000. I need to renovate these properties. I'm gonna put $150 in each one of them." Well, you do the math, 350, 150, he sold each one of those properties for $900,000. I've been his best friend ever since, right? So take advantage of these opportunities. They still exist. And even in this seller's market, I'm a firm believer there's never a bad time to buy and sell real estate. You just have to make it up in your mind to get in the game.
That is very powerful. Thank you very much for leaving us with that nugget of information. That is so powerful. And one of the things that you kept saying is and I read your goal and my goal, there's so much in alignment. My goal is to build intergenerational wealth, one family and one home at a time. In my family, I don't know about yours, but each generation started off from ground zero. I want to change that for my grandchildren. Right now, my grandchildren, I'm grooming them now. I have my granddaughter working for me by writing reviews on products that she uses every single day. She's like, why gotta do this when I use it? Why you want me to write about it? Because I want her to learn about, building money. And then what I'm going to do for her, because I'm holding on to her, is that I'm going to help her buy a property with a little bit of savings that she have. I want them to learn about investment in properties and then, just invest in their money, because I need to change the dynamics of my family. And it's going to have to start with me. My grandmother couldn't do it for my mom. My mom couldn't do it for me. So I have to do it for my grandchildren. We have to break the cycle. So I'm really trying to build the intergenerational wealth, for every generation in our families, because our communities, we struggle with that. Just put it out there. We struggle with that. And so, I'm so glad that our missions are aligned and our visions are aligned. And so I'm just really happy that you took the time out of your busy day, creating home ownership opportunities to chat with us for a few minutes. I really do appreciate it.
And I appreciate you on behalf of Mortgage Experts, Marcus Elligan, our co-borrower. I mean, I say co-borrower. See, I'm in mortgage mind, right? Co-owner. He's not. But we truly appreciate you for having us in this platform. And we wish you nothing but success, and collectively as a team, teamwork make the dream work. I hate to be cliches, but it takes us to make us, right? And together, for those that are listening, if you're motivated, we got your back. We got your back at a high level at that, right? Because it all starts with a plan. We don't know where you may start at, but if we put a plan, we'll put a plan in place with expectations of where you're going to end at. And real estate is the key to wealth. If you look at most of the major millionaires and billionaires, if you're not a rapper, song artist, or actress, most of them accumulated
Or be a ball player.
or a ball player, right? Most of them accumulated their wealth through real estate. And then those, the wealthy, take their wealth and buy real estate just for the very facts that Khalifa mentioned in regards to creating generational wealth for their families. Thank you.
So now I have a very important question, and it's very important. It's one that I wanted to know, and because I'm very serious about work hard and playing hard. And I want to know how important it is to have a cigar in your life to make your life better.
Thank you for this plug. I actually am an owner of a cigar bar. I'm actually here now, but I work upstairs when I do my real estate. And it's Vitola 121 in Annapolis, Maryland, 121 Main Street, selfless plug. But thank you. But it's not for everybody, I will admit that. But I can honestly say, at least for my business, the cigar community, when it comes to real estate, they understand the importance of having knowledgeable individuals in their life to help them manage their money. I mean, cigars is an expensive lifestyle. It's similar to that of golf. So there's a certain economic bracket of individuals that you deal with. And I've been in cigar lounges and bars, even here at my shop, where I'm talking to individuals, $10 million liquid at any given moment, right? And but they understand, and even with them, they have real estate needs, and so it's always good to at least have some relaxing cigar every now and then. Thank you.
Awesome. And I hope you have cigars for ladies, because I'm going to come over there. I started getting into cigars first when I was in New York. My friends and I, I think it was every first Fridays, we used to rent a limousine. We'll get, our favorite champagne. I'm a champagne and wine girl, and we'll have our cigars. So we have the guy here roll fresh our cigars, and we just go on a limousine. We're just crazy realtors, getting together first Fridays, and we rent a limousine. We tour the town, we club hop, and every club we went to, it was like, winter clubs actually had like a cigar corner. And so it was our thing. And so I got Macanundos and, my different kind of cigars that I like, and cigars, and then when I moved to Florida, right down the block from me, it was a cigar bar, and they had fresh hand rolled cigars every single day. And it was like my home. I lived there. And so I kind of missed that. I'm happy to see that you actually had cigars in your life. I got to hook up. I got to get my cigars.
I actually got into cigars from a close friend of mine who was a real estate agent. We met early in our careers, and we developed a bond and a friendship. And he was like, "Come smoke a cigar on my deck." I said, "And eat a steak." I said, "I'll come eat the steak, but I'm not a smoker." And he said, "One ain't gonna hurt you." I said, "All right." I went and tried it, and it's been uphill since then.
So, it's nothing like a good cigar in your life.
Yes. Nothing like it.
So very much, keep on bringing us together in the real estate world. Keep doing what you're doing, helping one families, each family at a time, to build that generational wealth. Thank you so very much. And thank you for being available to me. I'll be knocking on your door for some of the programs that you have as I begin to actually build wealth for the next generation of my family as well. Steve, take care. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. And I look forward to the next one.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for joining us for Takeaway Tuesday. Next week, we're going to go to Dallas, Texas on Takeaway Tuesdays and hear all the things that they're doing down there. Hey, y'all. See you then. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care.